Story 1. Am I the asshole for not eating the food my mom buys or makes? Today is my birthday, and every birthday since I was around 14 I have been very adamant that I don't like cake and don't want to eat it, due to certain events, specifically sponge or box or classic. I don't know what the proper name is, cake. I asked my mom today if we can go pick up a free cheesecake slice from the Cheesecake Factory. I do like store-made cheesecake. She tells me she bought cupcakes and they're on the table. Even though I tell my mom this all the time. Literally every year my dad still bought cupcakes. They also save me a slice on their birthdays. I'm not eating the fucking cake. I do not like it. Please stop buying me cakes. I feel like it's some kind of agenda, like if I tell her I don't like something she will still buy that thing. Since I was 10 I've had to buy my own food or ask siblings, classmates, and teachers for food to cook my own meals because my mom doesn't listen. Our refrigerator is filled with food that's expiring or stale or moldy. She buys already expired food in bulk at discount stores to save money. But it's just a waste of money if no one eats it. And it's not like we have cash to throw away. My dad works a retail job. I would like to know, am I the asshole in this situation? Comments from netizens. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Maybe start adding up the price of everything she buys that no one eats, and after a month post it on the fridge door. Name it, wasted food budget. Might open your dad's eyes. Especially in today's economy. Comment 2. Not the asshole for not wanting cake. I mean, she can buy cupcakes if she wants, but no way you have to eat cake if you don't want to. Since you're a teenager, it sounds like the perfect time to start taking this aspect of your life more in hand. Since your mom sounds like she might not be that receptive, maybe start with your dad. Ask him to explain how he, and your mom, budget for food. Ask him to take you grocery shopping. Start cooking meals, if you haven't already. If he says that's your mom's domain and you think she'll just shut you out, then try not criticizing her, but instead make a budget and shopping plan for a weekly shop yourself and ask her what she thinks of it. Frame it as trying to get ready to be an independent adult. Tie it to a homework project if you think it will help. Ask if you can try out your plan in an upcoming week. If you don't phrase it as her being bad at it, even if she truly is, she might be more on board. Comment 3. Not the asshole. One of my kids will eat cake but not very often. It's low on his list of sweets. He also hates frosting. So every year on his birthday I make him a pan of brownies. It doesn't cost any more than a cake. And honestly, baking them from scratch, the brownies cost less. I'm sorry your parents don't listen to you. I hope that when you're in your own and surrounded by people who love you that you'll be able to shrug and laugh it off. Some of my more memorable cake disasters were getting a marble cake, a plain cheesecake, my name spelled wrong on a cake, my parents taking me out for dinner and letting me pick a dessert to go, then my mom telling the waitress I actually wanted something else. I was turning 40. I knew I did not want what she changed my order to lol. And getting my birthday wrong, that happened this year. I'm almost 50 lol. But I acknowledge that they're making an effort and usually trying their best. Just keep in mind a swing and a miss means they're still trying, and you don't have to eat the cake. Comment 4. Not the asshole. I grew up with parents like this. I know it's because they were pals, grew up poor, had no other choice, and wanted to save money. I developed IBS and an eating disorder. I'm still struggling with them. It sucks that she can't be bothered to remember to buy a cheesecake for you since you don't like sponge cake. That's usually what cakes and cupcakes are. You're stuck in a hard place without much room for improvement. The best you can do is appreciate the gesture. I'm sorry you're going through this, but maybe knowing you're not alone will help. Comment 5. Not the asshole. The birthday cheesecake slice is free. Go get it. Take public transportation if you have to. Stop relying on your parents, especially their ideas about what is still edible. Don't bother with conversations about it. They aren't listening anyway. Can you arrange a birthday snack with friends instead of family? Or maybe with other family members? Happy birthday. Comment 6. Not the asshole. Celebratory foods are meant to be things the guest of honor likes, not what someone else wants him to like. My oldest gets pie for his birthdays because he doesn't care for cake. My nephew usually gets an ice cream cake for the same reason. My middle kid doesn't like chocolate, so he gets vanilla. My youngest prefers cupcakes, but now eschews real buttercream frosting because it's so rich she can't pig out on multiple cupcakes, so I use the crappy pre-made frosting. Are these the choices I'd make? Nope, but I'll choose what I want on my birthday. On their birthdays, I want them to enjoy their preferred treats. It's honestly not that hard to get someone what they like, especially when they flat out tell you. Comment 7. I understand your frustration. I despise ice cream cake and the cakes from grocery store delis with their thick icing. I actually just prefer a box mix with a very thin layer of frosting or even better, whipped cream. But because I have a summer birthday, it was too hot to bake, and thus my cake was often one of the two former and never the latter. It's very frustrating. On top of that, I'd be asked what I'd want for dinner and I'd start naming meals or restaurants and it would always be, your siblings don't like that. Until it became a meal or place they did like that I did not. And of course, their birthdays were always exactly what they wanted, without fail. Story 2. Am I the asshole for not tipping after overhearing what my waitress said about me? I, 30F, was at a restaurant last night with my mother. She was meeting my boyfriend's mom for the first time. We're punctual people, so we got there about 30 minutes before our reservation. We got seated with no issues. It took the waitress 20 minutes to get to our table even though the restaurant was pretty empty. Right away I could tell that she didn't want to wait on us. She didn't greet us with a hello. She just asked what we wanted to drink. We told her, and I noticed that she didn't write our order down. It took another 15 minutes for our drinks to get to our table, and they were wrong. It's hard to mess up a ginger ale and a vodka soda, but she did. My mom pointed out that she didn't order a Pepsi, and the waitress rolled her eyes, took my mother's glass and disappeared. I excused myself to use the washroom shortly after. I had no idea where I was going, so I went to the entrance to ask one of the hostesses there. While I was walking up to the server area, I overheard my waitress talking to some other hostesses. She was pissed that she had to wait on a black table because they never tip well. My mother and I were the only black people in the restaurant. She wasn't even whispering when she said it either. I wasn't stunned, but her lack of effort started to make sense. I interrupted their conversation, and I asked where the bathroom was. I didn't let on that I had heard what they were talking about. When I got out of the bathroom, my boyfriend and his mom were already seated. My boyfriend and his mother are white. When my waitress saw the rest of our party, she did a 180. Her service was stellar. She took notes, told jokes, and our water glasses were always filled. She didn't make another mistake. Because the night went so well, I decided to treat everyone and pay the check. She gave me the machine, and I smiled at her while I keyed in 0% for a tip. She didn't notice until after the receipt had been printed out. By that time, all of us had already started to leave. She tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I had made a mistake on the bill. I told her I didn't think so, and looked at the receipt. She asked if there was a problem with her service, and I said her service was fantastic, but since I was a black woman, I don't tip well. Her face went white, and she kind of laughed nervously, and I laughed as well. I walked out after that, but my boyfriend's mom asked what had happened. I told her what I had overheard, and my boyfriend's mom said that I should have tipped her anyway because it shows character. She seemed pretty pissed at me after that. My boyfriend and my mom are both on my side, but I'm wondering if I should have just thrown in a $2 tip? Comments from netizens. Comment 1. Not the asshole. I worked as a server for 6 years and I would absolutely not expect a tip for behaving like this to customers. She probably does not make much in tips, and this industry isn't for her. It's so inappropriate to ask people why they didn't tip you. This is so embarrassing. Replay 1. Agree. When I worked in service, I noticed the trend of who tipped and who didn't tip. The trends didn't just apply to black people. But I still gave the same level of service to everyone, even if they were regulars that I knew for a fact would or wouldn't tip well. Giving bad service to someone doesn't make my day any better or make me any more money. I'm being paid to be there and provide service, so that's what I did. Enough people tipped well enough that I was generally happy at the end of the day. Replay 2. Was in the industry for 7 years. Fuck no, she doesn't get a tip. And I'm usually the lady in the comments screaming about always tipping your servers. Racist service does not get a tip, and honestly that server needs to be fired. Are there stereotypes that we see in the service industry regarding tipping and race? Yes. And y'all. There are negative tipping stereotypes about every single race, including white people. Servers as a group will have bad things to say about everyone. It's sort of part of the culture. It's not good, but it is true. But do you say those private racist stereotype completely inappropriate thoughts and then actively treat people like shit because of it? No you do not. That is majorly beyond just a sad but true part of restaurant culture, into full-blown racism. Replay 3, it's crazy. I never really hear about it happening besides from people online, but my friend I grew up with worked with this woman at a restaurant in our small town. Apparently a couple tipped her like a couple bucks on their meal, and this waitress wasn't happy about it, so she chased them to the parking lot, starting yelling at them and name-calling. She even followed them to their car, and the cops were called. She did get fired. It's a small town, so everyone in town knew what happened, and she couldn't get another job anywhere. I cannot even fathom why anyone would do this. Replay 4. I do remember one hellish table when I was 18 and had only been waiting tables about 3 months. The family was celebrating the grandfather's birthday, and most of the family was pretty nice, but the grandpa had obviously been drinking a lot. And he was pretty nasty about the fact that our establishment didn't serve liquor. He sent his entree back twice. When dessert was ordered, he asked for a chocolate milkshake. When I brought it, he claimed he ordered vanilla. When I brought that, I messed up again. He ordered strawberry, and how could such a cute white girl fuck up such a simple order? Well, now I'm angry, but I'm not trying to ruin this otherwise nice family's experience. I was sure he was famous for doing just that. I made one of each flavor, put them in to-go cups, and brought them to the table with the check. Told him those were all the flavors we had for milkshakes, only 3, it was the 80s, we weren't doing 31 flavors of milkshake. And I had their check. The milkshakes were from me and happy birthday. Everyone else had been finished eating for some time, and his daughter had been looking like she wanted to crawl into a hole and die. He left me a penny under and full overturned water glass as a tip. The daughter came back in and gave me 2 20s, though, and said her dad does this every year. I guess I was the first waitress that didn't give him a racist show. FFS. I had assumed he was suffering dementia and couldn't remember what he'd ordered.